Many of the customers you deal with today use VMware in their data center. What are some of the things that you hear about in terms of requests from them?
So most of the folks that we're talking to want to have a private cloud because they have intellectual property, or they have their backbone solutions that they want to reside in their own private environment. But they also want to complement that with a public cloud offering. And most often we see that coming in the place where they need to act quickly. For example, if they made a recent acquisition, they need to put a virtual data center up pretty fast for collaboration purposes. Another example might be a scenario where they just don't know how much resource they need, and they don't want to expend a lot of money on equipment, so they might spin up a virtual data center with some small resources, knowing that they can grow it later if they change their mind.
So how do customers actually deploy these solutions?
So we've had a couple of different views around how a customer would want to deploy both a hybrid cloud approach, right? The first is they'd like to be able to reduce some of their training costs and give their existing operations department the ability to have the same look and feel both in their public and private cloud. And there's a tool called vCloud Connector that you provide that allows them to do just that. So they can have a control panel with the same look and feel as vSphere and look at the resources they've got both in their private environment and in our public cloud from a single and the same pane of glass.
As an IT director then, I deploy vCloud Connector in my own data center, and then I can tap into resources at Bluelock?
That's absolutely right. So you're basically getting a view in to your public cloud. You can use that to look at your resources in both your public and private space. You can also utilize that if you want to look at private and public catalogs and then move workloads back and forth. You can use that for looking at your templates that you've got available essentially as part of your catalog, both from a private and public standpoint. And then ultimately, you can use that if you desire to move workloads from private to public or vice versa.
Does Bluelock have any kind of program by which I can try this out before I decide whether I want to purchase it or not?
Yes, absolutely. We feel like once a client actually gets to use and leverage our public offering, they will absolutely want to use it. So we offer what we call a free evaluation, which essentially gives them a trial for a period of time. We'll spin up a small virtual data center for them to use, and they can actually get a sense of moving a workload back and forth and spinning up resources in our environment.
Is it possible for me to get an evaluation of vCloud Director and Connector working with Bluelock?
Yes, absolutely. So the vCloud Connector needs to be downloaded from the VMware site, but once that's in place, you can leverage the vCloud Connector with our public offering, our virtual data center, so that you can move workloads back and forth. You can, in essence, set up a proof of concept in our environment, and then after if you desire, after you've used it, tested it, and you want to move it back into your environment, it's just simply moving of an OVF file.
What is the feedback that you're getting from customers who have either moved to Bluelock directly or might have been using some other service provider and now taking advantage of Bluelock's offerings in terms of SLAs and pricing and so on?
Okay. So we've had a very positive response in our vCloud data center. Leveraging vCloud Director and the self-service and the cataloging and the ability to use vApps has been kind of a long time coming from their perspective, and so it's something that they're really wanting to leverage. So from that standpoint, I think the approach has been a sound one, using evaluations and then kind of moving them into proof of concept after the fact.